Anangsha. How are you?
Hi, Unnati. I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I and Stori are honored. See, we did not just pick your profile from LinkedIn. I actually, Dipanshu, Raval, and all these people, I saw somewhat they were connected to you, started following your work, loved some of your pieces on Medium and also around the platform. And then when I saw you on LinkedIn, I was like, okay, she's not even leaving this platform. And then I had to had this conversation with you and understand what goes behind the scenes of this consistency and constantly posting content on three platforms or two platforms continuously. And I have seen people come and go on the in the industry, but you are one person who has ek to sticked to her niche. Like you were very particular, and you're very so you're somebody who's promoted Medium a lot. And in at least in my network, I've never seen somebody doing that. And second is your consistency is mind blowing. So today I'm going to go inside your mind and dig everything out and understand how do you write pieces so consistently, how are they so on point, how do you research and everything. So are you ready?
Yes. Thank you for the kind words, and definitely I'm ready.
Perfect. So my first question is, what makes you you? Like, what made you stick to writing? What made you stick to posting? Because people do go through that burnout phase, or they change niches, industries, but what makes you stick to it?
Okay, so actually, whenever since I was a child, I used to love writing. I don't know how it happened, but I used to love writing. For me, it was like a way of expressing my emotions. And my parents also used to encourage me to read a lot. And even before I could actually read, like when I was very young, my father used to just sit with me and look at comics, and he used to read out those comics and tell me the story of those comics. So even when I was very young, I used to be very fascinated by stories, thanks to my parents and their encouragement. So that's when I realized that, like writing out something, whatever I'm feeling, it gives me an outlet for my emotions. So I used to I started writing poems when I was very young, because poetry is a very nice way of expressing yourself. And then when I was a teenager, I think everyone has that emo phase in teenager when you write diaries and you write poems. So I had that phase. And then I think it stuck with me like over time, because I truly love writing. And if when you're talking about consistency, right, it happens to me like, because if I don't write, I don't feel good. I have to write something every day. It has just become a habit over so many years. Like I think I've been writing online for like 6 years now, but even not online, I've been writing almost all my life for as long as I remember. So it's like a habit, a second nature to me now.
All right. So walk me through your after graduation journey. Like what happened after that and how did you sort of do what you're doing right now? Like what was the path so that anybody who's a budding writer and is watching this can get some perspective?
Okay, so I did my graduation in civil engineering. So at that time, when I was in class 12, I didn't know that writing could be a profession.
Wow.
At that time, I thought that the only way you can be a writer is if you write a book and you become J.K. Rowling level or Chetan Bhagat level famous. That is the only way you can earn money. And I knew I couldn't write a book when I was like 17, 18 years old. At that time, when I was 17, the only option I had was like either medical or engineering. So I took engineering, I took civil engineering, and then I did my graduation there. When I was in my final year, I discovered Quora. That was in 2015. So I used to write there every day, and people used to love my answers. That was the first time my answers got such a global audience. And it was the gratification was very instant, right? You can just publish an answer, and within 1 hour, you will get like a lot of views and comments. So I used to love that. It was like an addiction. I used to write every day,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
got a lot of followers. So I was very happy with that attention and with that validation I got from these comments. But even then, Quora didn't pay, so I didn't know that writing could be a profession. I didn't even explore much, because even in college, after my graduation, it was there in my head that you need to either do a job or you need to do masters or something else so you can have a career. So even then, I didn't know about how I can make writing a profession. So I took up masters in geotechnical engineering. So I started doing my masters. Then I got a job at NIT Silchar, which required me to do my PhD along with teaching at NIT Silchar. So I finished my master's, I started my PhD, and then 2 years into my PhD, the pandemic happened. So that's when I started writing on Medium. And then I realized that when you write, you can actually get money from your writing. And I think in September 2020, that was the first month when I made amount that was equal to my monthly salary from my day job. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I was like, I want to quit my job. I want to quit my PhD. I want to become a full-time writer. But then everyone told me that you need to at least see if it's sustainable, and see for 6 months if you can keep earning this much. Because obviously, like quitting a job is a big deal, right? That too, like for something that's not so stable as writing.
Hmm.
So it took me a long time. And I think in like September 2021, like 1 year after that, I finally quit my job and my PhD as well. And now I am a full-time writer. So yeah, that's my journey from like NIT Silchar to IIT Guwahati to becoming finally a full-time writer.
Wow. And I hope people like you go to universities and school to tell people that they can actually make money off writing or anything else. Like I remember so many people in my school who were really good at writing, but now they're in their day job, and I am not against it. It's just that somewhere I see that there's lack of knowledge, that they did not
Yeah.
know that this could be a thing. I remember I was in my first job as a sales representative, and I went to this networking event. And there I met a lady who told me, hey, you speak well. Why don't you start content writing? And that was the first time I got to know, whatever amount that she paid to me, but I got to know that you can earn via writing. And that was in 2018. And and that changed my career trajectory, and everything changed for me. I was an economics graduate to now being a marketing professional, and in between everything that happened, I feel if before even starting my graduation degree I would have got to know about this, I would have started earlier. But now the people I'm surrounded by and everyone on LinkedIn and Twitter is quite young and starting early. I think pandemic has been a blessing in disguise for a lot of college students who have explored these social media platforms. So yes, my next question is, how do you plan out your content and how do you research for it? So first is content strategy. How do you do the strategy, and then how do you plan it out? Like how do you know that this has to go out at this time and on this platform and it will work?
Okay, so I am not really like if I'm writing for myself, I don't do any strategizing because I write what I want to write. Because I told you, like writing is like an outlet of emotions for me. So when
Yeah.
I'm writing for myself on Medium or on LinkedIn, I don't really do much planning that this kind of content will do good, or this will do good. It's like what I'm feeling, I write it. So I think like if you're reading my post on LinkedIn, maybe you will be able to tell that she has poured her heart into it, because that is how I write.
Yeah.
And somehow the people seem to like it, which is like very good for me, because I'm not good in marketing. I'm just good in writing and expressing my emotions. But when I'm writing for a client, then of course I have to do strategizing, because that's what they're hiring me for. So it
Yeah.
depends on the requirements of the clients, what exactly they want. And the first thing I try to do is I try to understand who the target audience is, and what is the biggest issue the target audience might be feeling, and how this article or this post can solve that issue. So that is how, like, there is this phrase in the writing world. It is called get in bed with your reader. So whoever your reader is, you try and get in bed with them. Imagine what kind of thoughts are keeping them awake at night, and you imagine what they are feeling, what are the biggest struggles, and how you can feel like at that time. If a person is reading on their phone or their computer, what are the words you can say that will make them feel a little bit better? So I try to do that. I try to get in bed with my reader. It takes some time, of course. So how I research is, of course, the first thing I do is I just Google the problem statement, and then that leads me to some blogs. Sometimes it leads me to some online forums where people discuss their problems. And the best place I think to do this kind of research is some form of social media, like either Twitter or Instagram. So So if you type the target keywords, you will see what people are talking about that. And
Yeah.
after reading like 20, 30 tweets, you will get an idea that people are feeling this way about this issue. And then you can start writing. So when you're writing an article and you are citing some research, so it of course has to be a credible source. You cannot just cite somebody's blog as research, right? So for that, I take help from websites that are either very established, like say Forbes or Business Insider or Inc. magazine, or I take help from research papers because I know that these are peer-reviewed journals and the research there won't be wrong. So yeah, like I think this is something very important that when you're citing research, it has to be a credible source. So I hope this answered your question.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It did. And I will never forget this line that you need to get in bed with your reader. So thank you for that. So what are the niches that you are catering to these days in terms of your writing?
Because I am a creator, I'm a writer, so I want to help other people, other writers or creators who are at various points in their journey of content creation or writing. So currently I'm writing about anything that helps support creators, that helps the creator economy go forward. So you can say writing, freelancing, content creating, content marketing. This is like my broad niche.
Got it. And how do you get rid of the writer's block if you ever have it?
I think every writer has writer's block, definitely. So what I do is I have a thing like I think in 2020 I read this book called Choose Yourself by James Altucher. So there Altucher talks that there is a idea muscle in our brain. So our body has different muscles, and when we train our muscles, they become stronger, right? So this idea muscle in our brain, if you keep training it, it becomes stronger, and then you can get brilliant ideas on a daily basis. So the way Altucher mentions that you can train your idea muscle is by writing 10 ideas every day. So these ideas can be anything. It doesn't have to be something that you're going to write about. It can be anything like 10 ideas of what I can do after I wake up, or 10 ideas how I can reduce my plastic wastage, anything. The point is to write ideas so your idea muscle becomes stronger, and then you can have very good ideas on a short notice. So I started writing 10 ideas of potential articles that I will write every day. I did that in the beginning of 2020. So it has become like almost 1.5 years since then. And I have like 3 or 4 journals full of ideas. So it's not that all the ideas are good. Maximum like 90% of them are terrible. But sometimes if I look through my old idea journals, I can see that this idea connects with an idea I had today. And I can combine two ideas and make a different idea that will make a very nice article. So this has helped me. Like most of the time, writer's block happens because you're just staring at the screen and you don't know what to write about. But when you have a backlog, when you have like 4 journals filled with ideas, you don't have that excuse, right? That I don't know what to write about. That excuse is no longer there. So this has definitely helped me a lot. And it has also helped me like for all the times when I'm struggling that I don't know what to write about. So my idea journals have helped me. And I continue to practice even now, like writing 10 ideas every day. Even if I don't write an article, at least I write the title or the headline of the article in the idea journal.
Got it. Wow, this is a very interesting concept. Now I see a lot of strong, you know, I would say thought process when you're saying all this. Like everything is either backed by a book or something that you consumed or your own experiences. So I want to understand, how do you enrich your knowledge base? Is it via books? Is it via articles? Is it via TV series? Like, what's your go to when you want some kind of creative rush?
It's books, it's always books. I am not a movie person. Like my friends know me. Like I even haven't watched the famous movies like Shawshank Redemption or anything. They're like, what? You haven't watched that? But I read a lot of books. I read like 80, 90 books a year. And every time I have 3, 4 books that I'm currently reading. Like one, I'll have a physical book. One will be on my Kindle. One will be an audio book. So I read a lot of books and I get all my ideas from books that I read. And of course, I read a lot of articles as well on Medium, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I read those tweet threads. So yes, like reading is also like a very important part of who I am, because as I shared before, my parents used to encourage reading a lot when I was a child. So I think, yeah, that is what has helped me. And again, there's another quote by Ruskin Bond which says that if you want to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader. And I definitely believe that with all my heart, because the more you read, the more ideas you get, and the more writing styles you are exposed to. So you can experiment your own writing, you can experiment with those different styles of writing, and your whole craft of writing will grow. So yes, and that is like my go-to for getting a creative rush. And of course, I don't read much nonfiction. I mostly read fiction.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And which is your current favorite then?
I have like my current favorite author is TJ Klune.
Mm.
So his recent book that came out was Under the Whispering Door. It came out this year only. I just finished reading that like 3-4 days back. So I love TJ Klune. He writes mostly fantasy stories, and fantasy is my favorite genre as well. So yeah.
All right. And what's your one non-fiction book?
I don't read a lot of nonfiction, but there is one book that I read which, like changed the way I think and changed the way I approach situations. And that is the memoir of Richard Feynman. So Richard Feynman was the Nobel Prize winner of physics in 1991, I think. So his memoir is called Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. I read that book when I think I was like 16 years old, and that book helped me learn that curiosity is such an important virtue to cultivate. Like if you're curious about things, you can learn so many different things. And it also taught me that it's important to ask questions, because mostly we are taught that if you don't know something, just pretend that you don't know. But
Mm.
Feynman's memoir taught me to ask questions about everything, like established theorems, about books, ask questions to teachers, your parents, because the more you ask questions, the more you will learn. So that book helped me develop that mindset of curiosity and that mindset of being a learner always. So yeah, that is like my favorite piece of nonfiction.
Got it. That sounds like an interesting read. Would love to explore if that's on Kindle or audiobooks. Now, my next question is related to your journey on Medium. So if this is being watched by either a founder or a writer who is trying to establish their personal brand on Medium, what are one or two tips that you would think are non-negotiable for everybody to understand or follow?
On Medium, I think it's very important to, target the publications, because Medium has some amazing publications which has a huge reader base. So when you're starting out, if you just write on your own profile, you won't get many readers. But if you write on a publication, you can harness the reader base of that publication. So that's one point which is very important. And another point is that Medium has like a very strict curation guidelines. So
Hmm.
if you read those curation guidelines, you will see that they have a very set way of how you can structure and format your article. So if you format your article according to Medium's guidelines, then Medium will distribute it to more people. So then more audience will read that. So it's like, you have to have a feature image. You have to put your titles in title case. You have to, add separators after every block. So some very specific formatting guidelines are there. So those need to be followed. And aside from that, I think it's important to, provide some value. It's not like you have to sell something when you're writing an article, but you should always aim to solve a problem.
Problem, yeah.
So that is the biggest thing that works on Medium.
All right. And how can one approach these publications?
So every publication has different rules. So if you have a target publication in mind, you can just go to that publication's homepage. You'll see on the top a tab is there, write with us or publish with us. So when you click there, you'll see the guidelines. Every publication has a different set of rules.
All right. And how many months should one wait before they can start seeing some results or some positive metrics?
I would say if you publish consistently, then 2 months would be enough to see positive results on Medium.
Mm-hmm.
Consistently means 20 articles a month.
Wow, that's hardcore consistency. And so how are you feeling about getting on LinkedIn? How is the platform treating you? What's one thing that you really like about the platform?
LinkedIn has been so amazing. Like I have right now, I think I have about 9,000 followers on LinkedIn, but the posts that I write, they get like 20,000, 25,000, 30,000 views. So
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the only platform on the internet where the views is more than my follower count. This used to happen on Quora long back in
Yeah.
2014. I have never seen anything like that ever until I saw LinkedIn now. So this is amazing. I'm very, very, very like grateful for the community on LinkedIn and the way the people are perceiving my posts. So this is something that has like amazed me. I love this fact that you can get so much organic reach on LinkedIn without, doing paid promotions like Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah. Got it. And if you had to sum up your last 1 year in a sentence, how would you do that?
I know that when I'm 50 years old and I look back on my life, I know that this year would be like a turning point because I changed everything. I changed my job. I changed my place of living. I also changed my hair, which is
Yeah.
very important. And I adopted a puppy. So everything has been completely a transformative experience for me this whole 1 year.
Got it. And okay, where do you see yourself in the next 1 year then?
In the next 1 year, I hope to be one of like the thought leaders whenever it comes to like the creator economy. If someone has to think of someone, I want them to think of me. I want to be the thought leader in like writing or content creation or freelancing. That is one goal. And another goal is that I want to help a lot of people who are struggling because like you said in the beginning of this interview that so many people who want to be writers, they don't know how they can turn their passion into profession. So I want to help people do that because even I didn't know that, and I wasted so many years of my life doing other things. I didn't waste them, it was also part of my journey, but if I knew what I know now, if I knew back in the Quora days, my journey would have been very different. I would have been somewhere else right now. So I want to help other people who are struggling with this, and I want to, give them the hope that it is possible if they keep working. So these are my two goals. One is to be a thought leader, and another is to like help as many people as I can.
Got it. And you're one of those few people who really love writing and are doing it for the love of it. I see a lot of new people joining in the niche just because or hopping on in the industry just because it's paying well these days. Because every brand is coming online and they need written collateral and everything. So yeah, you have entered in this with all the right reasons. I really hope you thrive. And now I'll move on to the rapid fire section. So are you ready
Sure.
to face this coffee with current life situation?
Okay, sure, definitely. I've never done anything like this before, so fingers crossed.
All right. So if you had to change one thing about your past, what would it be?
I would not give up. Like I gave up writing on Quora for several months, several years in between. I would not. I would just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, and not worry about career or money. At least when I was 21 years old, I would give myself 1 year to experiment, and then I would give up if I didn't get any results.
All right. And if I had to tell you to choose between a platform, Medium and LinkedIn, what would you choose?
Right now, I would choose Medium because that's the platform that gave me what I have today.
Got it.
Maybe the answer will change later on.
All right. If there's one platform you know where budding writers can get projects from, what would it be?
LinkedIn, definitely.
All right. What's one feature of LinkedIn that you really like? It can be comments, DMs, pages, polls.
Can I say I like the organic reach? Is that a feature of LinkedIn? I think it is, right?
Yeah, it's a part of LinkedIn ecosystem, but yes, very valid if you have seen that kind of result. And that's very specific to your profile, by the way. There are a lot of people who are not getting views equal to their followers or less than their followers. So yeah, I am glad that it's working out for you. All right. And if you had to give one tip to your younger self, what would it be?
I would just say pick one thing, either writing on Quora or writing a book or writing on any other platform, and do it consistently for 1 year. Don't expect any results for 1 year, but after 1 year, your life will definitely change. Because at that time, I gave up a lot of things. I gave up Quora, I gave up books, but if I didn't, my life would be different.
Got it. And I am sure you might have got a lot of inbound leads and you've reached out to people and doing outbound. What would you still pick, inbound or outbound?
Actually, I haven't done that much of like outbound things on LinkedIn. Like whatever gigs I have got have come to me.
All right.
So I want to learn how to approach people as well. So I want to, right now, to answer your question, I would pick outbound because I want to learn that.
All right. And if there's one book that you can recommend to somebody who is just starting as a writer, fiction or non-fiction, what it would be?
There's this book called On Writing Well by William Zissner. That book helped me a lot, especially because I'm not a native speaker and a lot of my clients are Americans. So that book really, really helps, especially people who are from a country like India. It can actually change your writing.
All right. And where do you belong to? Like, what's your hometown?
I'm from Assam. Like my hometown is Guwahati. I'm from Assam.
All right. And what's one thing that you like about the place?
The weather is amazing, the scenery is amazing, and you're so connected with nature because there is a lot of trees and lakes and beautiful gardens.
Got it. And what's one quote that you swear by or gives you the push whenever you're feeling down?
So
Sentence.
uh, yeah. So there is one, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something like this, that I want to become a billionaire, not for the money, but for all the things that would happen to me, my mindset, my personality to reach there. So that is something that really inspires me.
All right. And my last question is, if you had to tell us one creator that we should definitely follow on any of the platforms, who would it be and why?
One creative person.
Yeah, anybody on any platform that you follow religiously.
Okay, so currently I'm following this writer on Medium. Her name is Sinem Gunel. So she inspired me a lot when I was starting on Medium. I used to read her articles, and her articles were the ones that actually gave me the push to write. So I would definitely say if you're on Medium, you should follow Sinem because she writes awesome and she also inspires other people.
All right, and this is by far one of the most rewarding interviews that I've taken. As somebody who has been a writer, I have connected with you on so many points, and thank you so much for keeping it real. If you did not know something, you actually expressed. So I'm glad with your I'm glad to see your candid image, and I hope to see you growing on any and every platform that you go on. Thank you so much for joining me and Story.
Thank you so much for having me. It was my pleasure.